For the better part of the last 75 years, the world has witnessed a global transformation with increased trade and economic interdependence. Over that same period of time, economists have been creating increasingly convincing models of why that trade should be a good thing for all parties involved. However, in recent years, we've seen the world take a step back from this trend of globalization, driven both by political and economic issues domestically and abroad. Some have gone so far to argue that increased trade and globalization is actually bad for some of the nations involved in the transaction. All the while, the original economic theory, which is pretty convincing, has never changed. Those ideas, absolute and comparative advantage, are the topic of today's video. Hi, I'm Mr. Racine. Welcome to today's episode of
Economics videos that don't suck.
Legal disclaimer. In order to introduce the concepts of absolute and comparative advantage, let's first introduce two well-known brothers. The first is LeBron James. You all know LeBron James. The second is his lesser-known younger brother, Scotty James. This is him. He's imaginary and for the purposes of this video only. LeBron James plays basketball, and Scotty James mows lawns. So LeBron has a pretty big mansion, and he needs to have his lawn mowed. We can consider how much time it takes each brother to mow the lawn. LeBron is pretty big and strong. He can mow his lawn in 2 hours. It's a big lawn, it's a big mansion. Scotty is smaller, but he's gritty, and can mow the lawn in 5 hours. Okay, so LeBron is better at mowing the lawn. He can do it in fewer hours. In this case, we say that LeBron has an absolute advantage in mowing the lawn. An economy or a person has an absolute advantage in producing a good or service when they can do it using fewer resources. It takes LeBron 2 hours to mow the lawn. It takes Scotty 5 hours to mow the lawn, so LeBron can do it using fewer resources. He can do it better. He has an absolute advantage. So why would he ever ask Scotty to mow his lawn? We need to consider the opportunity cost of the time it takes each brother to mow the lawn. Opportunity cost is the value of the next best option that is foregone when someone makes a choice. Here, we need to consider what would the brothers be doing if they weren't using their time to mow the lawn. Well, in LeBron's case, if he weren't mowing his lawn for 2 hours, he could go and play a basketball game, which at his current contract rate, I have estimated at earning him $542,317.07. So in essence, LeBron is foregoing $500,000 to mow his lawn. What is Scotty's opportunity cost of mowing the lawn? Well, if he didn't mow the lawn, his next best option would have been to go and work at McDonald's, where he could have earned $7.50 an hour for a whopping grand total of $37.50. So the opportunity cost to LeBron of mowing the lawn is $500,000, and the opportunity cost to Scotty is $37.50. The opportunity cost is lower to Scotty for mowing the lawn. He's giving up less by performing the service. So we can say that Scotty James has a comparative advantage in mowing the lawn. A person or an economy has a comparative advantage in producing a good or a service when they can produce it at a lower opportunity cost. So in this case, even though LeBron has an absolute advantage in mowing lawns, he can do it faster. There's still an opportunity for trade because Scotty has the comparative advantage. He can mow the lawn at a lower opportunity cost. How much money would LeBron need to pay Scotty in order to make it worthwhile for both of them? Well, more than $37.50, because this is what Scotty would have earned at McDonald's, and less than $542,317.07, because if LeBron has to pay more than that, he might as well skip the basketball game and just mow the lawn himself. So I promise you this has an economic application. Let's take a look at it. Let's now transfer these concepts to two different economies. Baconistan and France. Each economy makes two different goods, bacon and French toast. For the purposes of this model, we'll assume that each economy possesses identical factors of production, same amount of land, labor, and capital. But each economy has different productive capabilities. If Baconistan were to put all of its factors of production into making bacon, they would produce 10 units of bacon in a year. If they were to produce only French toast, they would produce 5 units of French toast. We can plot this information on a production possibilities curve. Assuming constant opportunity cost, we can draw the rest of the PPC like this, which suggests Baconistan can also produce 8 units of bacon and 1 unit of French toast, 6 units of bacon and 2 units of French toast, etc., etc. If France were to put all of its resources into the production of bacon, they could produce 4 units of bacon in a year, and if they only made French toast, they could make 12 units of French toast. We can plot these points on the same diagram and extrapolate the constant cost PPC in the similar fashion. Okay, from the diagram and from our table, which economy has the absolute advantage in the production of bacon? What am I asking? Which economy is better at making bacon, or which economy can produce bacon using fewer resources? Since each economy has identical factors of production, if Baconistan can make more units of bacon, clearly each unit of bacon requires fewer units of inputs, so Baconistan has the absolute advantage in the production of bacon. By the same logic, France has the absolute advantage in the production of French toast. On exam questions, if an economy or person can make something in a shorter amount of time or using fewer resources, or they can make more of something in the same amount of time or with the same amount of resources, then they have what we call an absolute advantage. On a PPC, if the economy's PPC line is further out on one axis, then they have the absolute advantage in the production of the good associated with that axis. So France has the absolute advantage in producing French toast, so they should produce French toast. And Baconistan has the absolute advantage in producing bacon, so they should make bacon. But here's the really compelling part. If France makes French toast, they can make 12 units of French toast. And if Baconistan makes only bacon, they produce 10 units of bacon. Now, if they trade, let's say 4 units of bacon for 4 units of French toast, then France would wind up with 8 units of French toast and 4 units of bacon. And Baconistan would wind up with 4 units of French toast and 6 units of bacon. But those points fall outside of each economy's respective production possibilities curve. Now, each economy is able to consume at a point beyond its production possibilities frontier, beyond the level that they would be able to produce by themselves without trade. According to the theory of absolute advantage, if an economy or person has an absolute advantage in the production of a good, then by specializing in the production of that good, they can engage in trade and enable themselves to consume at a point beyond their production possibilities curve. It's amazing. Great! So great, you say. I mean, this only works when each economy has an absolute advantage in the production of a good. What if one economy is just really good at producing everything? Clearly, then there would be no incentive for them to trade with other economies. Well, no. David Ricardo developed a further theory to explain why economies might still engage in trade, even in the case that one economy held the absolute advantage in the production of every good. This theory is called the theory of comparative advantage. Okay, so let's examine 2 more economies, Fastville and Slowtown. Again, each economy has identical factors of production, and they produce only 2 goods, Xboxes and televisions. If Fastville produces only televisions, they could produce 20 televisions, and if they produce only Xboxes, they can produce 10 Xboxes. So their constant cost PPC would look like this. And if Slowtown produced only TVs, they could produce 12 TVs, and if they produced only Xboxes, they could produce 3 Xboxes, so their PPC looks like this. So Fastville has the absolute advantage in the production of both TVs and Xboxes. They can produce more, meaning they can produce each using fewer resources. So we can't use the theory of absolute advantage to explain why these economies might trade, because Fastville is better at making everything. So here we need to apply the theory of comparative advantage. The theory of comparative advantage states that if an economy specializes in the production of a good which they have a comparative advantage in, then they can engage in trade and still consume at a point beyond their production possibilities curve. Let's look at how this works. Remember, in the case of the PPC, opportunity cost refers to the amount of good B that must be sacrificed in order to produce one more unit of good A. So what is the opportunity cost of X boxes for Fastville? What am I really asking here? We're saying if Fastville produces one more Xbox, how many televisions do they need to give up? So if you're quick and mathematically inclined, you might be able to look at this PPC and just eyeball it, but I'm dumb, and I need a foolproof way to answer these questions, and here's how I do it. I know that for Fastville, the opportunity cost of 10 Xboxes is 20 TVs. All their resources put towards Xboxes could produce 10 Xboxes. If those resources weren't producing Xboxes, what would they be producing? TVs. How many TVs could they produce? 20. The opportunity cost of 10 Xboxes is 20 TVs. We can then apply some algebra kung fu to make this number equal to 1. So, for Fastville, the opportunity cost of one Xbox is 2 TVs. For Slowtown, the opportunity cost of 3 Xboxes is 12 TVs. Using the same technique, the opportunity cost of 1 Xbox is 4 TVs. When Fastville produces Xboxes, it's giving up 2 TVs. When Slowtown produces Xboxes, it's giving up 4 TVs. The opportunity cost of producing Xboxes is lower for Fastville. They're giving up fewer TVs when they produce Xboxes, so they have a comparative advantage in the production of Xboxes. So Fastville should produce Xboxes. Since we've already done calculations for each economy's opportunity cost of producing Xboxes in terms of TVs, it's easy to calculate the opportunity cost of producing TVs. We can just take the inverse of the opportunity cost of Xboxes, or 1 divided by the opportunity cost of producing Xboxes. So for Fastville, the opportunity cost of producing 1 TV is just 1 over 2, or half of an Xbox. And for Slowtown, the opportunity cost of producing 1 TV is 1 over 4, or 1/4 of an Xbox. 1/4 is less than 1/2. Look it up. So Slowtown has a lower opportunity cost in producing TVs, so therefore they have a comparative advantage in the production of TVs. So, according to the theory of comparative advantage, Slowtown should produce TVs and Fastville should produce Xboxes. In this case, Slowtown would produce 12 TVs and Fastville would produce 10 Xboxes. They could then engage in trade, let's say 3 Xboxes for 9 TVs. This would then leave Slowtown with 3 TVs and 3 Xboxes, and Fastville would get 9 TVs and 7 Xboxes. And again, both economies are consuming outside their production possibilities curve, even though Fastville has an absolute advantage in the production of both goods. This is why the theory of comparative advantage is even more compelling in explaining why we would expect to see all economies engage in trade for mutual benefit. Okay, so this has been the theory of comparative advantage. These are the ideas we talked about today. 1, an economy or person has an absolute advantage in the production of a good or service when they can produce it using fewer resources. 2, an economy or person has a comparative advantage in producing a good or service when they can produce it at a lower opportunity cost. 3, the theory of absolute advantage says that if an economy has an absolute advantage in the production of a good, they can specialize in the production of that good and engage in trade, thereby enabling them to consume beyond their production possibilities curve. 4. The theory of comparative advantages says economies don't even need to have an absolute advantage in the production of a good. As long as you are able to produce a good at a lower opportunity cost, if you specialize in the production of that good and engage in trade, all economies can still benefit and consume beyond their production possibilities curve. Okay, after you've taken a minute to absorb this information, I have 2 different follow-up videos for you. If you're taking AP or university level intro economics, check out my Solving Absolute and Comparative Advantage videos, which analyzes the 3 different types of questions you could get on this and walks you through the steps of solving them. If you're on an IB track, check out my Evaluating and Solving Comparative Advantage question videos, which includes some similar problem-solving techniques, but also evaluate some shortcomings of the model for potential IB final paper questions. Hope to see you there. Hey, what's going on? I hope you liked this video and it helped clarify some of the stuff you're working on in your current economics studies. If you're looking for more resources to help you with AP economics, IB economics, intro-level university economics, economics teaching resources, 1. Go check out our website, Economics Videos That Don't Suck, evtds.com, for access to our entire catalog of economics videos, as well as practice questions, answers, and even entire mock exams. 2. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, Economics Videos That Don't Suck, so you can get immediate access to all of our new videos as they're released, probably mirroring your economic studies right now.